this video, I'm going to show the new link functionality that we've added to the Vault email tool. So the hyperlink functionality exists within Vault normally. What they would do is a user would select a file and then they would go over to edit over here, and then there's a button to copy hyperlink. And what that does is it gives them a hyperlink, and then when a user goes to that hyperlink, it downloads a file, which I have a few here I've already done. And when the user opens that file, it takes them straight to the file in Vault that the hyperlink was created for. So that's what's just done. It's just refreshed my Vault, taking me to the file I had the hyperlink for, which is this one here. So what we've now done in the Vault PowerPack is when an email is sent out with a file, it has a hyperlink attached. And if a user clicks that hyperlink, it goes to the link in question, downloads a file, and when that file is opened, it takes them straight to the file in question. So what we're going to do here is we're going to change state, work in progress. I've set this to send out an email to myself. So that's now done. I'm just going to change folder. If I change folder, then we can see that it's actually taking me back to the file I had set up the link for. So just going to wait for the email now. And there's the email. Okay, and we've got that here. And if I click on this link here, you can see it's got the hyperlink, and clicking on that will instantly take me to my browser. We'll download the file, and then when I click on that file, here it is, I'll open that file, and that will instruct Vault to take me straight back to the file in question. So there we go. Now, when an email is sent out with a change, it said this email has changed from work in progress to revision, or revision to release, or revision to work in progress. Someone could just click straight away in the email and they can download that file and take it straight to the file in question without having to look and find out where that file actually is. So one of the things we've also done in this release is we have added the lifecycle functions from the email tool into items as well. So before they only worked for files. So the tool we have here, which is called the edit email property tool, this only used to send out emails and edit properties if a file changed lifecycle state. But now it's possible for when an item changes lifecycle state to also trigger these things. So it works a very similar way. So before you would come into here and you would select the lifecycle that the files are on, but we also have the item lifecycle states on here as well. So you load up the item lifecycle state, and in the exact same way as before, you can come into here and configure exactly what's going to happen on that state change. So here I have it set. So on a state change between in review to release, let's change that. Let's make something from work in progress to in review. And over here, what we'll do is we will change the numbering system to numerical. So when we change from work in progress to review, we're going to change the numbering system to numerical. So here we are. So we've got a work in progress item here. We're on revision B. And when I change that to in review, it's changed over to a numerical here on the revision. So just like with files, it's got all the same functionality as a file did. The only difference is you don't have to set the format. So with files, you had to set the format here of what file does the email tool activate on. But now the item activates on all items because they don't have formats. So that field is now blanked out and not used. But apart from that, all the same actions that you originally had with the email tool when editing files, you have all the same functionality with items as well. This is a pretty minor update that we've done for the Vault PowerPack, but on the Lifecycle Manager down here, custom jobs have now been added. So if you hover over one which has a custom job, such as this one, you can see that it's got the description and it says that the custom job is test. That's because I've created a custom job called test. And we go over into the Vault settings, and we go over to the life cycles. And if we go over to our Flex one, which we're working on, and we go over to the transition here, we're going to click on Edit. And we have over here, Work in Progress to Review, which is the one we just looked at. If we edit that, we can come over to Custom Job Types here, and you can see I've got a custom called Test, but you can add any custom job. So if I remove that one, you just type in here the name of your custom job, which might be something you've already set up before. And this will, when the lifecycle triggers, this is the custom job that will be sent out to be activated. Now the text you type doesn't actually have to, you don't actually have to have a job called that to type in the text. So if someone typed a mistake, then the program wouldn't alert them of that. But once it's set up and it's all done, when you come over to here, you can see the custom job has now been updated to email. The next feature to go over, which we've added to this release, is the ability for when item lifecycles change, they can also change the lifecycle of the files attached to them. So here we have an item that's set to review, and if we go over to the Project Manager, we can see these are the two items attached to it, and they're in work in progress right now. And in the item, there they are. And what we've got, if we go over to the PowerPack and the GRAITEC tools, we can go to the lifecycle release process, and we have a state here which, when the lifecycle goes from in review to release, we have these actions over here, and this is link item lifecycle with file lifecycle when possible. So what this does is when the item lifecycle changes to release, if it can find a release state for the file, it will also set the files to release. It also will set the, if you set it up, it can be set so when the item changes to work in progress or review, the file also changes to work in progress or review. Now, currently how this works is it's set on a match with the actual name of the lifecycle state. So both states, file and lifecycle, have to have a matching state of the same name in order for the change to happen. If they don't have a state of the same name, then like item changes to a state like checking and files don't have the state of checking, then the files won't change state. That's why it says when possible. It will only change it when there's a matching lifecycle of the same type that it can actually match with. So we're just going to go through this one, and what this should do is when I change this to release, it should also change my files to released as well. So I'm just going to change this to released here. And there we go, it's now set to release. And if I go over to the Project Explorer, we can also see that those two files have now also been set to release.